You could say I had a plan, way before I had a fan. Some would probably call it luck, I just call it being blessed. You ain't never did the work, but you wanna be the best. Lately I could never stress.
Good evening, Immortals, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of my Amazon unboxing because 2 of my items came at 2 separate times, so I just thought I would go ahead and separate them out and all that good stuff. But yes, guys, this is a huge deal. This is a big deal for the channel. Okay, a little disclaimer, I've already shot with this and I've already unboxed it now twice because the first recording didn't record my audio and I caught it. I had a sneaking suspicion that this was going too well. I've got to check the recording and it did not record my microphone audio for whatever unknown reason, but we have that fixed now, so that's good. But part 1 was this, so if you want to see that, go check that out. I'm sure I'll do a card or something now that I've mentioned it. This usually has packing tape and stuff in it, or packing stuff in it, but this is what comes in the box just like that, the camera itself. So this is my new camera, the Sony A6600. It's not that different than what I have, okay? I have a Sony A6000 that I normally shoot with. Let me get that real quick. So here is the Sony Alpha A6000 that I've shot many YouTube videos with, and that my wife is now using as a photography only camera. Notice it does not have a flip out screen. That's about as much as flip as it gets right there. So that's an important note for what I'm about to say. Right now, if you're wondering, I'm shooting this on our church's camera, which is a Sony A6400. Don't let none of that fool you. It's basically a 4K camera with the flip screen. It's the same size as this. It looks the same. It's more or less the same camera. And I didn't realize I had it in my lap. This is the Sony Alpha A6600. So first of all, it looks a little different. It's maybe a little bit bigger. It's, you know, one thing that's going to be really obvious is that battery grip is bigger, and we'll get into that in a minute and why that is a thing. But you can see the overall camera size is comparable, you know. So what's great about this camera and the camera I'm shooting on now is that it has a flip up screen, great for vlogging and things like that, and just YouTube content creation. I can actually look at the screen above the camera and see if I'm in focus or whatever. But this camera has a few other features that the 6400 did not, and that is why I chose this over the 6400. Most of it for YouTube content, you're like, the actual quality of the video itself probably isn't gonna change like at all. And if it does, it won't be much. It won't be very noticeable. At most, if I shake the desk, you might see some of that in-body stabilization kick in. And yes, I said that. This has the steady shot inside. This has full in-body stabilization in it, and I'm super excited. I did a body stabilization test. I recorded some footage of this when we went out for our run. It's got eye autofocus. What? During video? Oh, that's cool. Okay, so this is just a gentle walk. And the lighting is not the greatest, but that's not really what we're testing here. I'm just standing kind of still. Okay, I'm gonna hold it with 2 hands now. 2 hands, okay, just easy. So this is with IBIS on. I'm just doing a little walking, trying to get ready. We'll do running tests in a minute, but right now I'm just kind of lightly walking. Okay, so now we're just kind of still. This is with steady shot off, so it should be a little shakier, especially with the 4K rolling shutter and all that. We're just kind of moving around, doing kind of vlog stuff, just walking. I've also had an energy drink, so I'm probably just naturally shaky a little bit. Yeah, with 2 hands it looks a lot steadier. It looks like with just one it's kind of a little shaky. Steady shot on with 1 hand. Okay, yep, that's a little better. I can tell even on the screen that's just a little bit better. Steady shot is on. Kelly is way in front of me, so I'm gonna pick up my pace a little bit and run. I'm so sorry for you having to see this. Again, Kelly is way ahead of me, so I'm gonna do another run real quick. It's like a medium fast pace. I'm not going all out, but it's a lot more than just walking. Yeah, that's a lot worse. So this is 4X with steady shot off. And we're not really looking at the image quality so much as the shake, because I'm using 16 millimeters and I'm zooming in. All right, so this is 4X with steady shot on. So this is 4X with 16 millimeter lens. So that gives you kind of an idea of like how much steady shot actually does kind of help. I should mention that I'm using the Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 unstabilized lens on a stabilized camera, fully handheld. No tripod, nothing like that, just straight up just gripping the camera. And Kelly's back in, so I guess we're gonna run again. Yes, hello, hi. I got a couple of creeper shots of you. Hope you're okay with that. This is going to mostly come into play whenever I vlog, because I normally don't take my gimbal with me. If you don't know what a gimbal is, more or less, it's a tripod that you walk around with and it keeps your camera super steady, okay? That's all you really need to know. Now for weddings and concerts and things like that I film professionally, I'm still going to use my gimbal. It does not replace the gimbal, but it makes me a little less sad that I didn't pack my gimbal whenever I go on vacation and stuff, because I usually don't like carrying a lot with me when I go on vacation, because I'm there for on vacation. So that is that. Another thing that this camera has that this 6400 in front of me does not have is a headphone jack, so that whenever I am vlogging that I can monitor my audio, or when I do professional stuff I can monitor my audio. And that red headphone jack looking thing right there is a mic jack. This camera does have that, and I have used it before. You'll notice whenever in the running video I have a microphone clipped to my shirt, and that's hooked straight into the camera, and it is amazing. It is awesome to have. The audio on board is nice, but it's even better when you can plug in your own microphone and not have to use any kind of external wireless packs or anything to collect audio. Okay, so I briefly went over the bigger battery, but something about these cameras that I hate. I hate it. And even when I'm vlogging, I have to use a battery bank, and it was called a dummy battery. Let me show you what they look like, which is basically just these little things like this that you plug one end into your camera and another end into a USB source, such as a battery bank or wall block or something like that. I usually use a battery bank, and the reason why is because for the price of one battery bank, I have the capacity of 10 batteries on the 6400 and the 6000 at like an eighth of the price. Hey, you can kind of see a little bit of reflection there. Hi, how you doing? In Jeremy reception a little bit there. Another feature that this camera has, that this camera also has, is that zoom in feature I use whenever I'm doing memes. So I have the zoom in like that, so that way I don't have to zoom in for, like, say if for a meme I want to zoom in and I know I'm going to do it in the moment, I can go ahead and zoom in, and it saves me time editing. So that's nice, because I'm still recording in 1080p, you know, and it has a 4K sensor, so I can do zoom in, and it ends up even looking a little bit better than if I would have just cropped in the zoom, you know, in editing. That's really, really nice. The stabilization is nice. It has a few other little tiny bells and whistles that I'm not going to go into. I already got off the battery. The battery on this, though, is so much bigger. Like, it is so much bigger than the other battery. It's hard to see side by side, but just trust me, it's bigger, and it provides way more battery life just with the normal batteries. Whereas these would last 40 minutes if you're recording video at 4K on that. You know, 50 minutes on this with 1080p. The batteries just were not worth it, basically. But with these have improved batteries. So especially for vlogging and just taking the camera around with me everywhere I go, I can just have the one battery in there ready to go, and I can record probably up to 100 minutes. I've not done it yet, but I would say probably 100 minutes, 2 hours without having to replace a battery. So that way I don't have to drag around my entire wires and everything with me. You know, for weddings and stuff, I definitely still will have to take all this with me. And for YouTube content, I'm still going to plug it into the wall just like I do now with everything. But I think it opens up the possibilities of taking these cameras, or taking this camera places that I normally would have left my camera at home. And I think that's going to open up some content possibilities to just always have my camera on me, always be able to just record stuff. Another feature that this camera has that my 6000 did not is the ability to shoot S-Log. Now, if you don't know what S-Log is, essentially it is an extremely flat color profile that I use for mainly weddings, but I also have used it on a lot of vlogs as well with the church camera 6400. Just again, the 6400 is the same camera, just without stabilization and without a couple of the other features. The end product quality, probably you will not notice a huge difference, but the user experience is going to be so good with this camera, you know, and in that way I'm happier with my equipment. And if I'm happy with my equipment, I'm more likely to film something, you know what I'm saying? I'm more likely to take it with me. I'm more likely to film something. Another thing that I did not mention that is a big deal, and it will affect the videos a little bit, especially the real life videos, is my 6000. Whenever I shoot 1080p video, it overheats within 15 minutes. It's hot where I live in Mississippi, in a hot environment, even in an indoor environment. Even when I was filming my Secret Lab video, this camera overheated many times while I was putting it together. That being said, that was really annoying to deal with, and it may have even come across in the video that I was very upset with it. I know that's a pretty highly viewed video on my channel, so maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. But whenever I do the updated Secret Lab 6 months video coming up here in November, I would say, I think that's about 6 months, I can film it with this, and I have unlimited record time. As long as I've got SD card space, it's not going to overheat on me. And as long as I got power and an SD card, this thing is going to keep on going. There's no record limits. There's no 30-minute record limit like on most cameras like this. Here in a minute, I'm going to actually switch. I need to take these little things off the side. Not done that yet. I may pause the video and do that really quick. But oh man, I'm so excited to just film with this thing. Oh man, I'm so excited. Even though I didn't get these on a huge deal, this still is considered an Amazon Prime Day haul because they were financing it with no credit checks and no interest. So even though I didn't necessarily get a deal on this camera or this microphone, I'm able to pay for it over time. So that's kind of very cool. And you guys have been showing so much support. Like I've had people buy merch. I've had people buy stuff through my Amazon links and stuff like that. And that stuff really helps me to get this. I want to let you guys know that this is only possible because of you and your support. I don't think I would go out and really try to upgrade really hard unless I knew the support was there. So I want to thank you guys for the support. There's a train. Hopefully you can't hear it with the new mic, but if you can, there's a train. I'm so excited for what the future holds. For stuff that for big productions, I always will have access to this church camera because I do their media stuff. But for bigger productions, I now have 2 cameras that basically shoot the exact same footage. The only difference is, again, this one has stabilization, that one does not. That's really and bigger battery. Oh, I didn't even talk about the fact that the battery, because the battery's bigger, the grip actually feels a lot better too. Again, this is one of those intangible things that you guys won't be able to see from the video standpoint, but it does really allow you to get a really good grip on it, and maybe the footage would be a little smoother just because the grip is bigger, but it feels so nice in my hand versus that little tiny stubby grip on the 6000. Oh dude, that looks like Damascus camo on Modern Warfare with the red and blue. That's kind of cool. Anyway, before I get too distracted and keep rambling on, I have updated my Amazon links. This is now in there and this is also in there. So just know if you do go to my Amazon links, it is up to date. It is current to my current setup. So if you guys aren't interested in supporting the channel, and if you want to get one of these things for yourself, there are Amazon affiliate links down there. Again, completely optional. I never try to push people to buy stuff too hard, but if you're already going to buy one of these things, why not use my Amazon affiliate link? It supports me and costs you nothing extra. So yeah, anyway, back to walking over this. I'm about to switch to it, and like I said, you probably won't notice a difference, but I'm curious to know if you do notice a difference. Alright guys, so we are now on the Sony A6600. Again, you guys may not notice really like no picture quality difference. I mean, it would be so small of a difference if there even was one. But I will say that, you know, if I shook my desk, I'm hitting my desk just like I was earlier. You notice there's no massive jitter. If I hit it really hard, you'll see it. And if I, move stuff around, you may notice it looks a little smoother if I start panning around. Again, something that this camera does not have. This is what I just took off. Like I said, this camera does not have the headphone jack down here. So just some nice quality of life features. It feels nicer. The actual like skin on the camera, if that makes sense. The shell, I should say, that feels nicer. I'm just excited, guys. This is really, really cool. It especially feels better than the 6000. The 6000 feels very plasticky, very kind of outdated. It's nice. The 6000 is nice. It would be a great beginner camera, and I would recommend this bigger brother, the 6100, to anybody that's starting out. You don't get the S-Log or any of the really cool picture profiles or anything like that. But honestly, if you're starting out and you don't know anything about cameras, you don't need it. Like, you really don't, unless you're going to do it professionally like I do, like videography. And even then, I filmed many weddings on the 6000. As painful as it was with the constant overheating, it was not the end of the world. You are now looking at yourself, camera reception. And for anyone wondering, I'm using the standard camera picture profile right now on both cameras. I've not done S-Log for video gaming content because I feel like color grading video gaming content is like way overkill, not needed. And the little bit of extra dynamic range, and if you guys don't know what dynamic range is, basically it's the amount of information or amount of light information that your camera can capture from the brightest source to the darkest source. Would probably be like over here. And I would gather much more information like on the headboard and the lights back here if I had it in S-Log. But to me, it's not worth the extra graininess that you would get from it. It is worth it if you were going to do a film production, but it is not worth it, or if you're doing stuff outside, but it is not worth it for what I'm doing in here. I think I've rambled on long enough. I really didn't mean for this video to be this long. I'm probably going to skim through it and kind of get the big ups of it, and maybe even like do like a timestamp, maybe a little timestamp feature for you guys. That way that you guys can skip to the part that you actually care about. But yeah, this has been Immortal Jeremy. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you guys for allowing me to do this. I would even credit you guys with some of the cool stuff that's happening in the background that I can't talk about yet. It is kind of out there, but I don't want to talk about it until it's like official. But I'm doing some editing work. That's all I'm going to say. Some of you guys know about that. Some of you guys are here because of the editing work. And hey, hi new guys. Thank you guys for coming over. I appreciate that. But I'll talk about it more in depth at a later date. I don't know when that would be, but as soon as I know something a little more official, I'll talk about it a little bit more. But just know that exciting things are happening and things are looking really, really good. Mostly thanks to you guys. So thank you guys for supporting the channel and sticking with me and watching everything I put out. More gaming happening tomorrow. Pretty sure it's gonna be Red Dead Redemption. I actually already had the Red Dead Redemption episode 5 uploaded, but I wanted this to go out just because I've been keeping you guys waiting with the part 1. You know, I have to have a part 2 to link to for that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you guys so much. Love you all. See you later. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and suggest some games you want me to play. As always.
Guessing they get it, cause look at me now and then look at yourself in the mirror. I know they doubted my thesis, but they doubted Jesus, and right now I'm making it clear. Clearly these people don't know where they going, and lately I feel like the man with the map. Back of the bus I was scraping the change. Back in my head I was living a life. Back in my job I was losing the focus and trying to find ways to get back to the mic. All of this working ain't working, I feel like a liar, and I cannot lie to my soul. I know the truth universal, so don't let me tell you, I know that a lot of you know. Spilling pieces of a poet, don't you know?